We also have with us is Vivek Saxena with FactoryTwin. Vivek is the founder and CEO of FactoryTwin. He has worked in the executive up to CEO level as an advisor with OEMs, tier one and tier twos, private equity firms, as well as startups. He helps factories harness their superpower data. FactoryTwins brings the benefit of advanced data analytics and digital twins to manufacturing so they can reduce complexity in their operations and make better decisions faster. It is designed to be affordable for even small and medium-sized manufacturers. The high ROI, secure, and highly intuitive data analytics platform FactoryTwin supercharges any shop's performance while also improving employee fulfillment. Double-digit improvements are a norm using these predictive and prescriptive analytics. Vivek will be covering shop applications, AI for improving shop metrics like throughput, profitability, cash flow, and delivery.
We're solely focused on digital and AI in production, improving shop floor and support functions using digital and AI. Why should you listen to me? I've been on various functions in operations, from shop supervisor all the way to CEO of an aircraft company. And I've seen the enormous opportunity that exists in using shop floor data. Currently, there's all these studies out there that show that less than 10% of data in a factory is actually used to improve the factory. It's just sitting there. Nobody knows how good it is. Nobody knows what is sitting there, how to utilize it. Particularly for small and medium-sized companies where you don't have an army of engineers or IT people. So that's where we come in. So I'm going to go over a brief presentation on how you can use digital and AI to improve your shop floor and support functions, and then maybe augment it if the technical glitches don't prevent me from showing you a couple of videos on how you can use digital twin technology to run experiments on your computer before you actually implement any changes to your shop floor. And then finally, I'll also give some examples of our customers who have used these technologies to show significant, these are step improvements. You're not talking incremental 1, 2, 3% improvement. We're talking 20%, 30% improvements in shop metrics that matter. Things like throughput, profitability, cash flow, on-time delivery performance, etc. So with this, I'm going to go to my next slide. And most manufacturers, even small and medium manufacturers, have already taken a few steps in their digitalization journey without really knowing how they're going. So I'm going to show you a very simple visual. If you look at this operations complexity on y-axis and operations insight on the x-axis with descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics as three frontiers. Some things that a lot of companies are doing today is machine monitoring. You apply a sensor to a machine, you want to see what the speeds and feeds are, whether the machine is running or not, or even looking at the health of the machine over time. So that's an application which has some predictive elements to it, but it's a very niche application, so it doesn't deal with a lot of operations complexity. Then you have a lot of companies that use custom dashboards that you're using from ERP. Downloads of how the things are doing, how the last month went, what were your revenues, what were your on-time delivery, what were your metrics, and so it's a static dashboards looking at ERP systems. So obviously that's descriptive, telling you as is, but not what's predictive and what's going to happen into the future. Then you have generic analytics tools, which are becoming very popular, like Power BI and Tableau, where people can go and actually do. And now there's a Copilot that comes with Power BI also, where you can do a lot of analytics there. But again, it can deal with significant operations complexity, but not very strong when it comes to predictive and prescriptive analytics. And part of the reason is that AI technology itself is very bad at forecasting. It's very bad at math, and it's very bad at forecasting. Generative AI is, some people would describe it as some kind of a very powerful autocorrect. It can generate a lot of text. It can format, reformat, and it's very good at it. But forecasting is not very good. I would recommend for people who are trying to go on the AI path to read a book called AI Snake Oil, written by a Princeton professor, that talks about how vendors in AI world are selling things which really are not doing what they claim to do. And that's because the predictive forecasting capability of AI is nowhere near what is desirable. And I'll show you that some of the technologies we have can actually do way better than some of those things. They do use artificial intelligence and machine learning and neural networks, but not necessarily the generative AI aspect of it. And then you have ERP modules. You have APS, Advanced Planning and Scheduling modules that come with various ERP systems. The problem with them is they are specific to that ERP system, and they can do certain things, but not overall operational insight. Compare that and contrast that with digital twins, which is a live model of your factory on your computer connected to the data streams. So as parts are moving on the shop floor, as parts are being delivered, purchase orders are being created, all that is reflected in this computer model, and you can do scenario analysis and experiment before you actually implement something on the shop floor. What do I mean by that? I'll give you an example which will be very easily understood by shop people. So I'm worried about bottlenecks on the shop floor. Where am I going to experience a resource constraint, whether it's machines, whether it's operators? How do I know how to deal with it? So I'm going to share a quick, I'm going to come out of this and share a video. And Brenda, let me know if there's a problem with share sound, and there we go.
We're seeing the PowerPoint still. Oh, here it comes.
Okay, so this is a video that helps you understand. Actually, this is the wrong video. I'm going to go to a different video. Okay, can you see this video? Which says long-term capacity planning.
FactoryTwin's sales and operations planning module strengthens and automates
Can you
the
hear it too?
factory's long-term
Yes,
planning
yes.
processes.
Brilliant.
Rapid scenario analysis allows users to build complex what-if scenarios. When combined, users can compare long-term planning strategies. Let's explore a bottleneck mitigation use case. Start by identifying periods of red.
So this is a simple way, a heat map to show where your bottlenecks are. So on the y-axis, you have all your resources, whether they are labor resources or machine resources. And on the x-axis is time. So imagine you're in January 2024, and you're looking ahead 18, 24 months to see where your bottlenecks are likely to be. And this demo is going to show you how to handle that.
These areas indicate a bottleneck. We can see two issues with this factory. In spring of next year, FactoryTwin is predicting a bottleneck across many resource groups. We can also see that this CNC operator group is chronically constrained throughout the next year and a half. Let's focus on mitigating the CNC operator group bottleneck using rapid scenario analysis. First, we'll experiment with a brute force method of bottleneck mitigation. Start by creating a new simulation. Add one more CNC machine to the Minneapolis factory. Choose the date it would become available to production. Next, hire 3 new CNC operators for the Minneapolis factory. Choose their hire date. Each operator will be assigned to a different shift. Save and build this simulation. Compare the baseline simulation with the brute force scenario. When we compare the baseline factory with the brute force scenario, we can see that the CNC group is no longer constrained. Adding new resources comes at a high cost, so we may want to explore other options. Next, we will try a more cost-effective approach using existing resources. Let's go back to the original state of the factory. Notice how the saw labor group is consistently underutilized. Additionally, we can investigate the demand drivers of CNC utilization. Notice how there are 3 customers' demand driving the utilization. Create another simulation. First, cross-train the underutilized saw operators for CNC tasks. Then, level load demand for the customers driving CNC utilization. Adjust line item due dates to smooth out the demand spikes. Lastly, add overtime to each shift. Save and build this simulation. Compare the baseline factory with this cost-effective scenario. With this method, we've eliminated the CNC bottleneck. Both of these scenarios resolved the CNC bottleneck. However, the cost-effective scenario is more practical and affordable than the brute force scenario.
So, so you saw that you can do experiments, you can do very, very complex scenarios to actually see how you can improve your factory's operations without having to hire people or get new machines. So I'm going to go back to the point here, and here we are. So that's an example of bottleneck mitigation. This is, you can do all kinds of experiments, all the strategies that people already know on the shop floor, but instead of doing back of the envelope and getting hurt, getting affected by it when it comes, and you're already behind, you can do early planning by do those experiments and training people or um, using these strategies in a manner that is going to be cost effective. So there are two ways AI and digital can help a shop floor. That was, I gave you an example just to give you a flavor of a use case, but you can improve productivity and job satisfaction of shop support staff. You can imagine in a reasonably complex factory, you have multiple sources of data sitting in ERP, Excel sheet. By the way, everybody has an Excel sheet and they have it in their drawer. They only trust that. They don't even trust ERP system. So you have all these data sitting somewhere and you have to make sense of it. And you have to be able to answer questions. And there are a lot of low value add, mundane, repetitive, offline tasks, which from our experience, and there are published studies out there, show that 20% to 50% of people's time, and when we're talking people, we're talking about buyers, planners, schedulers, sales and marketing people, analysts, supervisors, engineers, quality personnel, are just trying to make sense of what to do and where to get the right data. And they have tickets going to the IT guys, download this data for me or that data for me. And nobody has a complete view, a single source of truth, and how different functions interact. So one of the best things that digital twins do using AI and digital is actually cleanse the data, aggregate the data, and give you a single source of truth. So from there, you can go and understand what's going on. And when you have a question from customer, supplier, internal queries, you don't have to go around to the shop floor or call somebody who you think knows it, a first shift supervisor who seems to have all the knowledge, or a planner or some experienced guy that knows everything about it. Chasing parts, by the way, getting ready for every meeting takes a lot of time. Production meeting, people download these Excel sheets, and by the time they're printed out, they're already obsolete because parts are moving on the shop floor. People do inventory meetings, S&OP, sales and operations planning meeting, operations review, long-term plan, short-term plan. All that is transparent, push button, readily available to you, including things like value stream maps, which you used to take weeks of hours of effort to put yellow stickies on the wall. All that is automated. So I'm going to give you now an example of video of a bill of material explorer. We call it know your shop and know your parts, because that's first thing that people have confusion about. What components go in what. If you have reasonably complex bill of material and routings, nobody knows what really is going on in the shop, or some people do and most of the people don't. So here is a good way, an example of using digital twin to help you with that. So again, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Here, options. Can you see the video?
Yes.
Okay, good. So here we go.
FactoryTwin's Bill of Materials Explorer shows you the BOM trees for every part made or bought in your shop. In this depiction, blue nodes are purchased parts, and red nodes are finished goods. Clicking on a part gets you everything you need to know about it. Let's start with a finished good part. FactoryTwin's on-demand value stream map is based off of historic work order data. See a part's % value add ratio and identify opportunities to improve lead time in a matter of seconds. Analyze the Pareto and spread of historic production times for each step in the route. Particularly high or variable distributions are great opportunities for improvement. Investigate the part's future demand patterns to see if level loading is possible, and see what future bottlenecks will affect this part's delivery. Next, let's investigate a purchased part. Select a part of interest. Review current data gaps related to the part. Addressing critical gaps is crucial for data health and insight accuracy. Track the historic delivery performance of the material's various suppliers. Observe how the material's unit cost has changed for each supplier, and compare unit costs if there is more than one supplier. You can do future planning for each purchase part by understanding the consumption points and order points based on lead time. This also gives you future inventory exposure. To learn more about how FactoryTwin's Bomb Explorer can...
So that was another use case telling you about how to get information regarding your parts. And so there are hundreds of use cases like this. If anybody's interested and have any specific pain point, we can send them a demo video. So that's one way to improve productivity and job satisfaction of shop support personnel by eliminating low value add, mundane, repetitive offline tasks and let people do what they were hired to do. And then the second way you can use digital to improve your shop is by improving shop metrics by double digits. I'll give you a couple of examples from our customers to show those massive KPI improvement. So as I mentioned before, in order to do this, to apply AI and digital, the very first thing is you have to aggregate all sources of operations data, which may be sitting in PDF files, Word documents, ERP, MES, Excel sheet, even in people's tribal knowledge in people's brains. And how do you capture that and aggregate that? Now, one of the places where generative AI is very helpful is where the large language models are good at reading stuff from unstructured data like PDF and Word documents. In fact, we are working with a customer in California right now, south of LA, where the shop was run on Word documents of all things, not even Excel sheets. So we had to go and train a large language models to be able to convert that Word document data into structured data, which could then be uploaded to a new ERP system they're getting. And then you aggregate all this data, you got a single source of truth, and then you have to do data cleansing. One of the things that people don't realize that if you're going to use digital or data, having confidence in data is not only imperative, it's also very time consuming. And usually a data analytics project can take about 50% of its time in just understanding and building confidence in the data. So we have built some automated tools. There's one called Factory Validator, which goes into all operational sources of data and checks for gaps and consistencies. And it does it automatically. So that's a one-of-a-kind product. No other software company I've ever heard of has that for manufacturing. But it's a very good way and very useful tool for our customers to not have to go and check everything, one at a time, where you have thousands and thousands of fields to fill out. So we use that data cleansing, and then we apply analytics and AI to get the insights. So that's the sequence of things. First, you have to understand where all the operational data is sitting. How do I aggregate it to make into a single source of truth? Then do cleansing of data, check and build confidence in the data, and then apply it to get benefits as far as shop metrics are concerned. Now I'm going to give you a couple of examples of our customers and the huge improvement they have seen by using data analytics. So here's one customer. It's a Michigan customer with 3 factories in the state of Michigan. And they wanted to implement SIOP, which is Sales, Inventory, and Operations Process. Some people also call it Sales and Operations Process. And the reason was that they were always reacting to situations, like many shops do. And they wanted to be able to understand long-term where their issues are going to be in terms of bottlenecks, in terms of supplier performance, supplier planning. And once they implemented that, within a year of using it, they reported 15.6% improvement in throughput without adding resources. And that's critical. Without adding resources, 15.6% throughput improvement. Obviously, you can see it's going to have huge impact on profitability and on-time delivery also. But that's one example of how big improvements can be had using data analytics and AI. Another customer, this one is in Oklahoma, making Boeing airplanes, flaps, and slats. They showed 30% improvement in inventory reduction and cash flow, therefore, improvement. And you can imagine that's a huge number. So this company was about $30 million revenue company. And they used to carry on an average, about 10 to 15 million in inventory, including WIP. And so that was all that cash flow tied up. But by doing experiments, optimizing the flow, using the dynamic scheduler offered by FactoryTwin, which is way better than any scheduler that most ERP MES systems offer, they were able to get the right inventory for the right finished goods at the right time and reduce the inventory by 30%. So again, as I mentioned, double-digit improvement, huge improvement are a norm using this technology, particularly if you haven't used it. And that brings me to a very interesting online survey that we can do. If there are manufacturers on this call, they can go to this survey.factory-twin.com or use that QR code. And there are 10 questions asking you that will determine how operationally complex your shop is and how digitally mature your shop is, based on which it will tell you which quadrant you fall in. And if you are in the red quadrant, which means you have a complex operation and not very mature digitalization in the factory, you can get up to 20% improvement in your KPI. This is based on our customer data, but also published data from national institutes. For example, MXD in Chicago, which is a cybersecurity and digital manufacturing institute. All this data is consistent with what we are finding with our customers. So if you are in the red quadrant, highly complex, less digitally mature, when you start using data analytics and AI, you can get 20% improvement in your KPI, up to 20%. If you are already very high digital maturity in the yellow zone and not very operationally complex, you can get some improvement, but not double digit. If you're on the right top where you are highly complex and you're already got like ERP systems and some data systems and not just running on Excel sheet, you can get up to 10% improvement in KPI. So if you can go on this survey, we have a good sample of factories already. So when you fill in your data and you click and you see where you fall on those quadrants, you'll also see where the peer companies are. So right now we have data there from our previous couple of webinars, and there are about 40 factories, various sizes, which are on that rubric, and you can see where you fall and what kind of improvements are possible for you. So that's basically what I have, and I welcome any questions. I hope a couple of things I was able to emphasize that you can take with you. One is that for manufacturing, which is a highly complex function as opposed to marketing, as an example, or finance, the number of variables and the integrity of the variables that is input to any digital model or AI model is very critical. So understanding that is very important. Do it automatically or manually, whatever you're able to do, but you cannot trust an output from an analytics function unless you actually have good data. So that's one thing I hope you take with you. Secondly, that the age of digital is here. Large companies and small companies are doing it. As I mentioned, our smallest customer is a 32 personnel shop with $8 million revenue, and they are seeing tremendous benefits by doing this. And our largest customers are billion-dollar companies. So large and small companies are doing it, so don't be left behind, and let us know if there's any way we can. Thanks, Brenda. I am done, and welcome Q&A.
Yes. Thank you both. Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Vivek.